witnesses. By the time Thomas finds the address, Jesus is gone. Sorry, Thomas. He doesn't believe. 8 days later, so now we're on day 10, Jesus appears again. This time when Thomas is there. In your face, Thomas. He tells them to go back to Galilee where their original ministry started and wait for him there. Galilee is about 80 miles away from Jerusalem, given decent roads and weather. But taking into account the mountainous region of Jerusalem, it would take them between 5 to 10 days to get there probably. That's my approximation. While fishing in Galilee, Jesus appears to them again. I would mark that day 15 to 20. Depending on how long it took him to get there, how long it took Jesus to show up. And that is where we supplant ourselves firmly in Matthew 28, 16 through 20. This is not the last thing he will say to the apostles in person. He's also going to reveal himself again 3 more times back in Jerusalem. At one point to 500 different apostles. All at once, 500. Another privately to James. And finally to the disciples at Bethany, promising his Spirit to them. But, for our sakes, I'm going to take us a close look at this specific resurrection account in Matthew 28, 16 through 20. Are you sufficiently updated now? Okay, I know that was a lot. But the point is, a lot of people saw Jesus come back from the dead. Many times. Multiple times. Now, they could have all been lying. All of them. Even though none of them ever recanted. Actually, most of them would die on that account. But it is of note. That's a lot of people. Okay, Matthew 28, verse 16. Now, the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. Wait. We can't continue to verse 17 because John 21 tells us a lot about what happened at that mountain in Galilee. So they go to meet him at the mountain, and they're hanging out there. Okay, and then they go with me to John 21. And if you don't know where that is, it's page 907 in your Pew Bible. John's account has a little more detail on the context of how Jesus showed himself to them in Galilee. And I think it's super important. So let's go there. Verse 1. After this, Jesus revealed himself again to the disciples. Again, because we just saw the other agains, right? To the disciples by the Sea of Tiberias. That's the Sea of Galilee. And he revealed himself in this way. Thank you, John. Simon Peter, Thomas, called the twin, Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, and 2 others of his disciples were together. Simon Peter said to them, I'm going fishing. They said to him, we'll go too. They went out and got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. Man, these guys, I'm glad that Jesus called them into ministry because every time they're fishing in the Bible, they don't catch anything. This is the second time this has happened. Anyway, verse 4. Just as day was breaking, Jesus stood on the shore. Yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. Probably, it's dawn. It's somewhat dark. There's likely many other fishermen on the shore. So they don't recognize him either way. They didn't know it was him. Verse 5. Jesus said to them, children. Some versions will say lads, because he's a pirate apparently already. Anyway, whatever. Children, do you have any fish? They answered him, no. They're probably really annoyed. He said to them, why don't you cast a net on the other right side of the boat? You'll find some. Have you ever had someone give you advice that was like so ridiculous? Someone like not at all. All you teenagers are going, oh no, I have never had ridiculous advice. But this has got to seem ridiculous to them. However, man, don't tell me Jesus isn't sentimental. This is exactly how they were called in the ministry in the beginning. They were fishing. Jesus said, hey, have you guys caught anything? And they're like, no, we haven't caught anything. And they're like, oh, why don't you try the other side of the boat? And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll try oh, my bad. This whole time I was thinking of the wrong side of the boat, Like the lake was on this side and a desert's on this side. I was my fault. My bad. Good idea. They do it and they catch a huge load of fish and they're amazed. They come and Jesus says, follow me. I mean, what a bro. I would just say that. Like, what a bro. He could have revealed himself anyway to the disciples in Galilee. And this is the way he chose it. Hey, have you caught anything? No. Why don't you try the right side? So, unfortunately, these aren't the brightest guys. They don't catch on right away. So they cast it. And they were not able to haul it in because of the quantity of fish. Now the disciple whom Jesus loved, that's John, therefore said to Peter, Peter, it's the Lord. Yeah, what gave that away? You know, so they catch all the fish, and all of a sudden deja vu sets in, and they're like, oh, you know, that moment like in Friends, like Joey, you know, you know, I mean, some of you are Friends fans, some of you are not. But I mean, he goes, oh my goodness, that's the Lord. That's the Lord. That's him. Only he would do this. So when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put on his outer garment, for he was stripped for work, and threw himself into the sea. Peter, you're in a boat, man. You could have just, whatever. The other disciples came in the boat, because they knew that that's what boats do, dragging the net full of fish, for they were not far from the land, but about 100 yards off. When they got out on land, they saw a charcoal fire lit in place, with fish laid out on it, and bread. So Jesus had him catch 153 fish, and he already had some. Man, Jesus, I'm telling you, he's so sufficient, no matter what. I mean, I know he can bless us, but he is so sufficient for whatever we need. Jesus said to them, bring some of the fish that you have just caught. And they're like, wow, you already have your own, whatever. So Simon Peter went aboard and hauled the net ashore full of large fish. This ain't no guppies, okay, 153 of them. And although there were so many, the net was not torn. Jesus said to them, come and have breakfast. Now none of the disciples dared ask him, who are you? They knew it was the Lord. Okay, good. Jesus came and took the bread and gave it to them, and so with the fish. This was now the third time that Jesus was revealed to the disciples after he was raised from the dead. Holy cow. He could have revealed himself any which way, and he does it this way. Now, one big thing I want you to understand. One big thing you have got to know. Simon Peter, you got to understand the context here. Simon Peter sees it's the Lord, and he jumps out of the boat to go see him. He's already seen Jesus come back twice, resurrected Jesus come back twice. But you understand that before those two encounters, he was denying him to people's faces. Have you ever let someone down so bad you can't look them in the face? You know, you've let them down so bad you can't look them in the face. Not only does Peter look Jesus in the face, he is desperately clawing his way to get to him.